right now on NBC 26 Live at 10.
This is a repeal and a replace of Obamacare. Make no mistake about it.
House Republicans passing their bill to repeal and Act.
Plus, a Star Wars scare in Shawinigan. The high school evacuated when a student wearing a mask is seen as a threat.
And convicted, a man pleads no contest, charged with stabbing 2 people to death on the Oneida Indian Reservation in September. President Trump and House Republicans are celebrating a legislative victory today after voting to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act.
Now the bill heads to the Senate for an even tougher fight. Blaine Alexander has more on the vote that came down to the wire.
Thank you very much.
President Trump celebrating a major legislative win with the Republicans who delivered it.
Make no mistake, this is a repeal and a replace of Obamacare. Make no mistake about it.
The bill is passed.
Passed without a single Democratic vote, now moving the fight to the Senate.
Starting today, Obamacare is on its way out the door.
I urge my colleagues, come to your senses, defeat this bill.
The vote coming after weeks of negotiations, amendments, even personal phone calls from the president, whose first try at health care ended in embarrassing defeat.
It died right here on the floor. Now it's come back to life, like a zombie, even more scary than before.
The House bill would roll back Medicaid expansion and decrease subsidies for low-income families, meaning higher costs. For middle-income families, higher subsidies, lower costs. And it would end the individual mandate, one of the most hated parts of Obamacare. The bill would also keep coverage for pre-existing conditions, but if states opt out, costs could rise. Some lawmakers upset they were rushed to vote before knowing what this plan will cost and who it will cover. And outside the Capitol, more anger from protesters. But back at the White House...
How am I doing? Am I doing okay? I'm president. Hey, I'm president.
President Trump and Republicans ended the day with celebration. Blaine Alexander, NBC News, Washington.
Now the bill passed for a vote for 217 for and 213 against. Here's how our representatives voted. They're split along party lines. Republicans Paul Ryan, Jim Sensenbrenner, Glenn Grothman, Sean Duffy, and Mike Gallagher all in favor, while Democrats Mark Pocan, Ron Kind, and Gwen Moore all voted against it.
Governor Scott Walker reminding people today's vote is just the first step in the process. The Senate is expected to make changes to the bill, but he thinks coverage of pre-existing conditions will stay.
Well, I think pre-existing conditions is a given. That's something that we have to do. I think you want to do that, but you also want to balance that off, make sure that it's done in a way that everyday citizens can have access to affordable health care.
Governor Walker refused to expand Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act. The new bill prevents him from doing so in the future. In Appleton today, protesters gathered outside of Congressman Mike Gallagher's office in response to this vote in Congress.
NBC 26's Sherrod Taylor was there and spoke to them about their concerns.
Many of those protesting today have pre-existing conditions, wanting to tell their stories of difficulty paying for insurance prior to the Affordable Care Act. They say repealing and replacing would take health care away from millions of people, change coverage for people with pre-existing conditions, and impact those who rely on Badger Care. Citizen Action of Wisconsin and Wisconsin community members rallied to keep the act. Protesters writing letters, chanting, and picketing outside rallied together. Local leaders were there too. Outagamie County Executive Tom Nelson says this bill is probably one of the most important bills directly affecting Outagamie County.
And among our mental health clients at Outagamie County, we saw the uninsured rate fall by 70%. So that means that people who are in need of care, who are in need of help, are getting the help before they hurt themselves and others.
NBC 26 also spoke with Congressman Glenn Grothman. Grothman says he voted yes to repeal the Affordable Care Act and come up with a replacement to make insurance more affordable. He says he voted with the majority. We asked about pre-existing conditions.
We have said repeatedly in all our plans we plan to take care of pre-existing conditions.
Grothman says an affordable basis will vary from insurance company to insurance company, but those who voted to repeal feel the premiums will drop compared to now. Keeping you connected, Sherrod Taylor, NBC 26.
The bill now goes to the Senate, where it will need 60 votes to be passed unless the filibuster rule is changed. Well, lots of sunshine out there today, a nice spring day for us.
So is our Friday shaping up. Here's Chief Meteorologist Cameron Moreland with a first look at your forecast.
Lots of sunshine across the area today and warm temperatures giving way to just a few clouds as we move through the afternoon and evening and even a couple of showers. Those clouds and showers have now dissipated. We're looking at mostly clear conditions across the area and gusty northeast winds with temperatures dropping down into the 40s. Your bus stop forecast calls for lots of sunshine tomorrow morning. Temps will be in the mid-40s with gusty northeast winds. Pretty nice by the final bell with mostly sunny conditions. Temperatures will be in the upper 50s to lower 60s. Back to you.
Thanks, Cameron. We have new information tonight. A Ashwaubenon High School evacuated this morning after a student wore a stormtrooper costume to class.
NBC 26's Eric Kress has been following the story today and has more on what caused such a scare.
May 4th is International Star Wars Day, but not everyone is aware of the holiday.
Apparently it's May the Force be with you day today.
Thursday morning, a student from Ashwaubenon High School wore this stormtrooper outfit to class, which ultimately prompted an immediate evacuation of the school after a concerned parent called police.
That outfit actually looked like that he might be wearing a bulletproof vest or a flak jacket, and that coupled with wearing that mask and walking into the back door of the school made a person very concerned. And we expect that to happen. We sure hope that people would call.
And by the time students were let back into class, about an hour after the incident unfolded, police and school officials were calling it an innocent mistake that all students can learn from.
I think there's a good learning lesson for a student, or maybe several students might learn something from this, to be careful as to the day and age that we live in now, that we have to take all of this stuff very seriously.
And while the perceived threat turned out to be nothing more than a freshman taking in the holiday, it's also an event that truly shows how far our nation has come in recent years in terms of anticipating the worst.
When you look across the country and you see on the media that there's these threats and the things that do happen, we can't take anything lightly.
Keeping you connected in Ashwaubenon, I'm Eric Kress with NBC 26.
School officials say they do have a no costume policy in place, but believe their student simply made a mistake.
The lockdown at Ashwaubenon High School sparked concern at another school in Green Bay, St. Mark Lutheran School, letting parents know the school was on lockdown for around a half hour this morning because of an active shooter situation at Lambeau Field. Green Bay police say a concerned parent working at Lambeau who wanted a ride to Ashwaubenon High School because of the situation there caused all that confusion.
As a precautionary measure, we put the schools around Lambeau Field on lockdown until we validated that information and learned exactly what happened.
Investigators say after talking to the man involved, it was simply all a misunderstanding.
More local news now. A 20-year-old man convicted today of murdering Harry Brown Bear and his wife Lorraine in Oneida back in September. According to court records, Vance Reed pleaded no contest to 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide. Prosecutors said Reed was drinking with the couple and got into an argument with them the day the 2 were killed. Reed will be sentenced in July. The suspect accused of shooting a man in Appleton in court today. A judge found probable cause in the case against 28-year-old Girth Thao. He faces 7 felony counts, including attempted first-degree intentional homicide. Thao allegedly opening fire in and around an apartment complex on North Union Street back on April 25th. He'll be back in court June 6th.
Oshkosh police arresting 7 people in a drug bust after searching a home on the 600 block of Boyd Street yesterday. They took 4 men and 3 women to jail, all on different alleged offenses, including manufacturing and delivery of cocaine. The suspect ranged in age from 30 to 56 years old. There's no word on when they'll be in court. In Manitowoc, this card skimmer discovered on a gas pump at a Shell station on South 41st Street. The cashier telling police 3 men were at the pump around 7 this morning when she received an error message from the pump. She went outside to help them, but they drove off. Police don't believe any credit or debit card information was stolen because a skimmer was found before any customers used the pump. The Hortonville police chief has resigned, this all coming from his attorney. In February, Mark Sullivan served a 2-week unpaid suspension after he was accused of using discriminatory and sexist language against female officers and village leaders. He denied most of the allegations, saying his job as chief had become very political. Sullivan has another job, a new job with the Wrightstown Police Department as a patrol officer.
Tourism leaders voicing their support to build a new expo center at the site of the Brown County Veterans Memorial Arena. The plan by Brown County Executive Troy Streckenbach calls for an extra 0.5% sales tax for 6 years. It also calls for using the existing room tax to pay for the construction of the $93 million expo hall. The Convention and Visitors Bureau says a new expo hall could bring in about $130 million over 10 years. Coming up, we're going to show you a Fox Valley manufacturer who's making one-of-a-kind products. See how they're using talented hands to turn mud into money.
And it was a great night to run into Pier and raise money for a special cause along the way.
You're connected to NBC 26 News at 10 with Cassandra Duvall, Chief Meteorologist Cameron Moreland, and Sports Director Charlie Sakaitis. NBC 26 News at 10, keeping you connected. And now, your Storm Shield forecast with NBC 26 Chief Meteorologist Cameron Moreland.
Not only was today the warmest day in over a week, it was also the first time this month that we actually had a high temperature warmer than what we saw on one day back in February. Now, as we move through the next week or so, all of those temperatures are going to be at or below what we saw on that one day back in February. How often can you say that? Really never. The weather is backwards here. 62 for a high tomorrow, mid-50s on Saturday, upper 50s on Sunday, and then probably upper 50s to mid-60s as we head through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So really, that one day in February will be warmer than just about all of the first 12 days this May. Pretty crazy. All right, temperatures across northeast Wisconsin this evening now dropping into the mid and upper 40s from Green Bay north and east. South and west, we're still looking at some lower to mid 50s. That cooler air working in on a gusty northeast wind at around 10 to 20 miles per hour. It is currently 52 in Appleton. We're looking at 48 degrees in Green Bay with sustained winds at around 10 miles per hour, but we are seeing some gusts up at around 20 miles per hour at times. That wind shift coming through with a trough of low pressure that dropped south of the area earlier this evening. As it pushed through, it did produce a couple of scattered showers and sprinkles. Now, out ahead of that system earlier today, with lots of sunshine and a light southerly wind, we had some pretty warm conditions. Look at this, 60s to around 70 degrees, all the way up to 70 in Wapaka. We had 67 degrees in Green Bay. The high temperature in Shawano was 69, and we are sitting on the eastern edge of a very warm air mass. Temperatures climbing into the 70s, even some 80s across parts of North and South Dakota, back into Montana. That warm air is headed east, but it's not going to make it here because we've got a cold front that is now located across south central Canada, and that cold front is going to swing through here as we head into tomorrow night. Not much going on out ahead of it this evening, but as we move through tomorrow evening, there will be something going on out ahead of it. Lots of sunshine across the area tomorrow, but as that frontal boundary approaches, we'll see increasing clouds by around 5 o'clock, and then tomorrow evening, a chance for some showers and maybe a thunderstorm as that cold front drops across the area. Out ahead of the front tomorrow, once again, lots of sunshine. Temperatures will be in the upper 50s to lower 60s across the Fox Valley with that northeast wind. North and west of the Fox Valley, it'll be a lot warmer, mid to upper 60s. Meanwhile, near the lake, temperatures will be mainly in the 50s. Now, behind that system, tomorrow night into Saturday, we're going to see even a stronger gusty northeast wind develop, and that means even cooler weather works in for Saturday afternoon with high temperatures mainly in the mid-50s, about 10 degrees below normal for this time of year. So tonight, mostly clear and breezy, lows in the upper 30s. Tomorrow, a breezy morning, and then that wind starts to die down. We'll see a lot of sunshine throughout the day, a good chance for showers and maybe a thunderstorm as we head into tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. My 3-degree guarantee for tomorrow is 62. 2. If I can hit that high within 3 degrees, we will donate $100 to the community pantry of Pulaski, and we did that today. I forecast 64. The actual high temperature was 67 degrees. So cooling down as we move into the weekend. 56 on Saturday, morning clouds, then sunshine. Mostly sunny on Sunday. Sunshine and a few high clouds on Monday. Look for highs right around 60 degrees. And then the weather will turn a little more active as we head through Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week, with some on and off chances for a little rain or maybe a rumble of thunder. Overall temperatures staying at or below normal for this time of year.
I think today's sunshine was nice.
It's absolutely beautiful.
Perfect out there.
Upper 60s.
Hard to come to work, right?
Absolutely.
Near perfect conditions, really.
There you go. Thanks so much, Cameron.
Yep.
Well, after the break, we're off to Fox Crossing to visit Sunset Hill Stoneware, a business growing over the years. See how they make their signature mugs by hand, one at a time.
And runners in De Pere joined up with law enforcement in a race with a special prize at the finish line.
Welcome back. When most of us think about getting behind the wheel, it's of course to drive a car. But for the workers at Sunset Hill Stoneware, the wheel takes you on a different meaning.
Haley, 10 Past takes us to a Fox Crossing business to show us what they're throwing down in this week's edition of Exploring What's Made in Wisconsin.
You'll spot them on shelves and countertops.
I see our mugs all over the country, from breweries to the national parks to the state parks, a lot of places in between.
Each handmade and crafted by Sunset Hill Stoneware.
Everything starts with a lump of clay and turns into one of our mug shapes.
Tom Dunstern started this business in 1998 with 2 employees.
Yeah, I started it with a friend, and he was more of the artist end, I was more of the business end. Sure.
He now works with his father, and it's grown to a workforce of 53.
We are currently expanding and training new potters, so we're hoping to expand even further beyond that number.
Crafting Sunset Hill's signature mug doesn't come easy.
Never really had any sort of experience with pottery before I came here. Brought a pottery wheel home in my basement, practiced there, and a couple years later, here I am.
Now Roy Pulowski can make up to 200 mugs a day.
We like to achieve around 10,000 mugs a week.
The space they create in is almost as unique as each mug leaving it.
Very state-of-the-art that way. So I think we've, taken an old world art, if you will, and kind of transformed into a modern with technology and efficiencies. Because of it being so labor-intensive, you have to come up with other ways to figure out how to get things through faster and better.
And you never know who's going to want a mug from Sunset Hill.
Right now we're doing a big run for Pink Floyd, Roger Waters, the tour coming up this summer, so we're producing about 16,000 mugs for them.
You'll find them close to home, too.
A lot of local businesses buy our stuff, so to be able to walk into a coffee shop or a restaurant or something and see something that you made is pretty cool. And actually had a part in making by hand is pretty awesome.
And Tom says the future looks bright.
We just keep trying to be more efficient and come up with ways that we can be better with what we have right now. So I would say in the next 5 years, we may double our growth and continue to keep going if the demand's there.
In Fox Crossing, I'm Haley 10 Past, exploring Wisconsin for NBC 26.
How incredible. I love watching them being made. Well, if you'd like to learn more about Sunset Hill Stoneware, just visit our website, NBC26.com, and search Exploring Wisconsin.
Well, they were off and running in De Pere tonight, raising money for Special Olympics. The second annual Run with the Cops took place tonight. Runners and law enforcement officers took off just after sunset for a 5-kilometer run. The event is unique. The course is lit up by police cars and emergency vehicles. And of course, there were donuts for everyone at the finish line.
Well, coming up, once a Packer, always a Packer, some legends of the green and gold with their aim focus